And we were talking about earlier, one of the reasons to make a change is that you're interested in something. And if you naturally were scribbling down all these things for months and months and then decided to make a book out of it, you would know you were interested in it in the first place, right?
That's true. I didn't spend so many hours slaving over a hot computer for nothing.
All right. What are some of the major career opportunities in the smart grid sector?
Well, first and foremost, there's a really huge demographic opportunity coming up because utilities have an aging workforce. So all across the board, whether you're talking from management perspective to administrative operations, the folks out in the field, the folks in contact centers that are answering calls, there's going to be a big turnover as people retire. So there will be jobs in all of those different sectors just within the electric utilities themselves. But beyond that, when you look at the different types of companies that will actually be selling these new technologies or selling new applications of existing technologies into utilities, there will be opportunities for folks in software development and in hardware development, the engineers, the product managers, the Q&A test engineers, the folks who do the training of these solutions, the folks who write the documentation for these solutions. Sales and marketing, you'll have to be selling your solutions to utilities and you'll have to be developing the marketing messages. Even partner management, because these are such complex technologies that often require several different companies to really assemble all those moving parts into a cohesive whole, you're really going to see a lot of partner management come into play here as well. So
would you say it's not a, if somebody's at mid-career and they want to make a change, is it a big jump that they need to make? I mean, could they make the case that they have this background in operations and all the different areas you mentioned, so it's not such a big leap, do you think?
It doesn't really have to be a big leap, but you have to be very clear as to how you target your message to justify why your background would be perfect for the career space or the particular job that you're interested in. For instance, I recently chatted with a director of product management for a company that makes a home energy management system, a software solution, and you know, even though this is a very utility-oriented solution that requires detailed knowledge of what we would call back office processes within a utility. How do they do billing? How are the meters being managed? This particular individual came from a video gaming background.
Oh, really?
And the reason is that his hiring company felt that it was really important to have someone who had user interface experience and had that ability to translate the information onto a web page in the most articulate and concise fashion. And they thought that his visual background, how he understood to use colors, lights, motion, graphics, and the design and placement of all that would really serve them well to create a software solution that would provide the best user experience.
So do you think if somebody has an interest in smart grid or enough of an interest that this would be a time to make a move rather than later? Would you say sooner rather than later?
Well, it's never too soon to start in the investigation process. And right now is a perfect time because there are so many different seminars and webinars and trade shows going on out there that if you even have a mild interest in it, this is a great time to start doing the investigation. But absolutely, I just saw a little blurb before I walked into the studio about how utilities are moving ahead with their smart grid projects. They're not waiting for anything. They've got their stimulus dollars, so they're full steam ahead. And so that means that's a growth sector in an economy where you can't always find a good rosy story out there.
I have another question for you. We're running a little low on time, so I want to make sure we talk about your book first before see if we have time. Tell us, why don't you show the book and maybe point it that way there a little bit, and tell us about it. Well, besides being sort of a labor of whatever that was, writing down
labor of love. It was definitely a labor of love, but it was also a lot of fun because I do have, as you can tell, a real passion about this myself. So this is the first edition of the book, and it's available as both this print version and as an e-book. And the reason I wrote the e-book is so that we wouldn't have to necessarily kill a tree. So I encourage anyone who's interested to take a look at buying it in that fashion. But It covers the industry very thoroughly. I counted it out. I had well over 300 acronyms that are spelled out in here.
Wow.
And in addition to acronyms, of course, I've got all of the jargon, all of the technical terms that are explained for a general business audience. So this is not a book for technical geeks to be reading and getting enlightenment from me. But this is a great book for people who aren't really technically oriented or have some technical background but want more of a general business perspective. And then I also include all of the most important organizations in it as well.
That's great. So if they wanted to join one of the organizations or find out the local chapter, they could find out about that.
And it includes things like the national labs and what the national labs are doing that's smart grid related. It includes the Department of Energy and explains what their role is with the smart grid, and a number of other agencies that they're just an alphabet soup to you until you start reading this book.
Now the online version, will it have updates, or do they rely on your blog for the updates?
The online version will also be updated just like the print version. So, the second edition is already in the works, and it'll be available next year.
You're already jotting down a little.
I've got 30 more pages already.
Okay. We're out of time, so I didn't get to ask you the last question, but it seems like a fantastic book that would help people in their career transition.
Well, thank you, Steve. This has been really fun.
Okay, thanks. And thank you for watching You're Hired. If you have any input for us about this show or suggestions for future shows, questions about jobs and careers, feel free to email me at steve@bayareacareercoach.com. That's steve@bayareacareercoach.com. Do check out the website. We have the 12 keys to getting a great job. You can sign up for my free career newsletter there. You can also access the contact information of anybody who's ever been on this show. So again, give them your website again.
www.smartgridlibrary.com.
That's great. And so they can order the book, find out more about it, read your blog.
That's right.
Okay. And my website is www.bayareacareercoach.com. Again, it's www.bayareacareercoach.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on You're Hired. And thank you for being on You're Hired.
Thank you.
The other question I was going to ask you was about the relationship of global warming. So
yeah, we never did get to that one, did we? Time flew.
Yeah.
You're right, time flew.
I liked that you said that it was part of the small carbon footprint to have it online as well. I thought that was
yeah. Well, that's how I originally created this. I didn't even plan to do a print version, but I had so many people say, "Oh, that's a great idea, and I'd love to get one, but do you have it on print?" And the last thing I want to see was people printing out 186 separate pages of this.
So they can get it either through your website or...
the print version's on Amazon.com too.
Okay, so they can get that. And you're already working on the second edition, because these terms change, right?
Yeah, well, and I come across new things, and there's new terminology too, so it's all just,
Did you find it changing even while you were writing it? Like, I could, making changes and editing it?
If I were really a perfectionist, I would never be releasing the first edition, because there's another